I'm excited. Are you guys excited?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
Kind of nervous. It's an equal mix.
It's going to be great.
That's good. That's
It's
perfect.
going to be great. Let's just get right into it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
He usually explains.
Explains what?
He
Yeah.
he sets it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to set it. No, I'm just
Oh, well, I was gonna set it.
Obviously,
So welcome
your
back.
show.
I'm Brother Dan,
I'm Sister Lisa.
and we have a very special guest to tell what I believe is a special story, a conversion story, if you will. And would you please welcome Brother Jordan to the show?
Hi, everybody. Thanks
Hi.
for having me.
Oh, please. Thanks
I
for
appreciate
coming.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jordan and I met, I want to say 10 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
So we met through the Portland, Oregon music scene. A musician over here, played in a couple
musician
bands.
over here. Played in a couple bands.
Yeah. And one evening, I'm certain after a show,
Yeah.
we found ourselves.
Yeah, you asked me to pin down the details, but
Yeah.
I do remember this conversation.
We'll help each other.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how we got on it,
Yeah.
but I probably mentioned that I had grown up in the LDS church, and you said, "Yeah, I served a mission,"
I did.
and I said, "What?
Just casual.
Yeah.
How the hell
Like-
did that happen?"
Right.
Wow.
And then you proceeded to tell me, and that, I mean,
We don't meet each other in the wild very often
No.
in certain circles. Yeah.
and I would have never
Yeah.
have guessed. I don't know about you.
No.
Yeah,
Not at all.
I mean, we
No.
I wear flannel. You wear flannel.
Yeah. This is
What?
crazy, man.
Oh man. And 12 years later, we're still
Here we are.
still wearing flannel.
Again, in the music scene and in those clubs, we were not acting like Mormon boys.
No.
So who'd have thunk it? You told me a brief version of that story, which I would like to hear from you today
Yeah.
with our audience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Happy to share it.
I have questions.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to try my best.
Get ready, man.
As we were talking about earlier, prior to starting this recording, years have passed.
Yeah, it's been a while.
The details are not as clear, but I do remember the general timeline. It's not something you forget very easily.
No.
The
But and
general
this
stuff.
was, your time as an active member of the church was fairly brief,
Yeah.
but a lot happened.
Relatively.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relatively brief.
And it's unusual, at least in my experience, to know of someone who converted as a young adult.
Right. So I guess that's the first detail. I was baptized at the age of 18.
Right.
Yeah. My senior year of high school, mid-year.
I mean,
Yeah.
who does that?
Wow.
I clearly didn't know what I was doing after high school.
Right.
I was just like, let's see
so-
what this is about.
Let's check this out. Well, of
All I
course-
know is that it was for a girl.
I mean, of course, there was a girl involved.
Yeah. There was, I grew up in southern Idaho. There are plenty of opportunities to go to a Mormon church. And I had gone to like Boy Scouts with my friends
Mhm.
that was in a Mormon church.
Right. On a Wednesday night.
That was your
Yeah.
first exposure
Yeah, but there
in
was,
the building.
and it was just the prayer though. And the prayer's normal,
Sure.
you know?
Dear Heavenly
Just
Father.
like yada,
Yada, yada.
It's normal. It seemed more normal than like a memorized thing or whatever. So
Oh,
it seemed,
I see.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was all like I'd never been to a meeting or anything like that.
Wow.
So what was your religious experience, if at all, growing up?
For a brief moment, my mother took us to the Seventh-day Adventist church.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is another thing.
That's a
That's
whole
a whole
other thing.
other
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I think the motivation was kind of like getting a child into church or children into church equals like morality,
Sure.
like the easiest track to instill values in a child and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's actually a religion my father grew up in.
Really?
And my mother did not. And my mother was kind of converted by my father's mother, my grandma.
Oh, weird.
Wow.
Like as she was having us, she was like, you need to get involved with the church.
Sure.
You need to do this.
You
And
need
my dad
help.
was like, I'm not going, but if you want to go, that kind of thing.
Wow.
So we like went as kids. But I mean, there was all sorts of stuff that went into that. But in terms of like my entire childhood, it was also relatively brief. We got to a certain age, not yet out of elementary school, where all of us kids were like, we don't want to go to this church
Yeah.
anymore, Mom. And she was like, okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Did your mom have a religious conviction prior to that herself?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't speak to that. I'm pretty sure growing up, she was not involved in a church at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Any
dad,
kind of church.
Seventh-day Adventist,
Mhm.
growing up.
Yeah.
Okay.
but never like committed.
Sure.
It was always like, you have to go do this. And
Right.
It was like, and then when he became like a teenager, he was like, I'm out of here.
I don't have to do this.
Probably similar to your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty similar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Seventh-day Adventist. One.
So you were kind of a bit primed.
one almost cult to
for
another
sure.
almost
A
cult.
weird
Primed for
Christian
magical
sect.
thinking,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that helps. Okay.
It helps a lot.
It explains some
Yeah.
things. Do we know if it's similar to the Latter-day Saints?
In its founding, it's very
They
similar.
both
Sure.
have prophets and they
Yeah.
both,
Ellen G. White.
Yeah.
Around the
Okay.
same time.
And I think there was some intersectionality there.
Same area.
Yeah.
Same areas.
Yeah.
Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, the
Mhm.
burned over district in
Yeah.
upstate New York.
Some
Around
magic in the water up there.
Early
huh?
to mid 18. Yeah. Out of the Millerite movement. Actually, Darren and I, with the fundamentals, we did an episode on
Okay.
Seventh-day Adventist. And we're supposed to do another one someday.
I'd love to listen to that
Yeah.
because as a kid, I didn't absorb any of those details.
Okay. So, first of all, what was your awareness of Mormons?
Very aware of their
Who they were,
existence.
what they
and-
believe.
Yeah. So growing up in Southern Idaho, like I said, probably over half the town is Mormon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like we're talking. Are you familiar with where Twin Falls is?
Mhm.
Right outside of Twin Falls. It's not too far from Rexburg.
Mhm.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
people I went to school with went to BYU, Idaho. Across the street, there was a house whose owners would only rent to Mormons.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And I grew up in
Certainly
the
happens.
middle of the country with like very few neighbors. So we grew up like playing with Mormon children all the time.
Okay.
There was a instance where we like got into a feud with them, and they told me and my sister that they were going to a higher level of heaven than we were. You know, so there was awareness of like some things, you know, but
The ultimate insult.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you're going to the terrestrial kingdom.
You can't even come visit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Say goodbye to your genitals. But yeah, wasn't aware of that idea or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, one of my sister's best friends was a member of the LDS Church, and her family took my sister. My sister went to church with them. I think she told me, Jenny's watching if she is.
Hi,
Sorry
Jenny.
if I'm forgetting the details. I think she told me that she talked to the missionaries once or twice.
Yeah.
Like they came to the
friend's-
house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So definitely there was exposure there, but somehow I like got through it. And my best friend growing up, sorry, Matt. Hey, Matt. My best
We
friend
forgot.
growing up was LDS. But they weren't very strict.
Oh, okay.
They were not very strict house. In fact, I got to watch things at his house that I wasn't able to watch at
Oh,
home, like The
wow.
Simpsons and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Loose.
Yeah.
Woo.
Loosey goosey.
Woo.
Yeah.
But they come into play later on. So we'll circle
Okay,
back.
bookmark that.
That was my awareness as a
Okay.
kid, I guess. Long
And-
answer.
In your personal belief, did you have a belief in God or?
I considered myself an atheist
Okay.
at the time that I encountered the church on the level of investigating
Right.
it.
At 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
my whole life, I think from the time I could probably say aware enough to make a choice of what I believed in, probably 12 or something,
Mhm.
up until 18, I considered myself
Well
an
beyond the
atheist.
age of accountability.
Well beyond the age of accountability. I was choosing the wrong.
Yeah.
When you were going to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, did you believe in a God?
I did. I think
Okay.
as much as any kid would. Like, we're talking pretty young.
Yeah.
Like 5, 6, 7. So yeah, they're telling me Jesus exists and he loves us.
And you're like, why
Mhm.
not?
And I still have all those songs stuck in my head. You know, just like you guys have primary songs
You have
stuck in your
Seventh-day
head.
Adventist primary
Mhm.
songs? Wow. What a
Mhm.
treat.
A lot of the hymns are similar. So I remember like
Oh, okay.
investigating church, just a side note, investigating the church and like hearing a hymn. And I was like, oh, this sounds so familiar.
Mhm.
Is this a sign?
A lot of them are from that time period.
Mhm.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you even begin to investigate?
Oh,
As it were.
okay. Yeah. So it was a girl. Like
Flirt to convert.
Sister Lisa said. Yeah. Flirt to
Fishing.
convert.
They'll get you.
Yeah. And I was aware of that term too.
Were you?
So I had, from Idaho, when I was 15, my family moved over here to Oregon, to the Portland area.
Right. Okay.
And at that time, my best friend Matt and his family moved down back to Utah
Okay.
to
From Idaho.
From Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah. I spent like a year and a half over here, and I was going to a high school that was pretty sketch. I wasn't going to school. I was skipping. I got halfway through. Oh, I know. It's terrible. I know.
This is shocking. Okay.
I'm now a teacher.
Wow. What an arc.
I know, right? Halfway through my junior year, I was pretty sure I was either going to need to move and finish high school with my buddy and his family in Utah, or just not finish high school and stay here and get a job and start doing whatever.
Because you were playing hooky and you weren't going to graduate?
I was not going to graduate. I was missing so much school that I was just failing all my classes and stuff.
And was there a reason for that? Did you just not like it?
I hated my school, yeah.
Hated it.
It was pretty
because
bad.
Because it was sketchy.
I'm not going to name names,
Sure.
but it's not in the Portland Public School District. Represent.
Did you not feel safe?
I did not feel safe.
Okay. Did your parents know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were going through their things, you know.
Sure.
Adults have their things.
Were they aware that you were not attending?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's how I sold them on letting me go live with my friend in Utah.
Okay. Got it.
I've been like, listen, these are the numbers. See my grades?
These are the facts.
I am not going to graduate.
They're not looking good.
Yeah. But if you let me move, I guarantee you, I will put my nose down and get to work. Because I wanted to. I saw myself kind of like, I had always been like a really good student my whole life. And I saw some things kind of slipping away. And I was like, I need to get my stuff together and graduate. So then I moved to Utah, into Centerville, which is like 90% LDS, you know. So it's just right there. That's like a huge reintroduction
into the culture.
I was seeing details that I hadn't seen even growing up because
Utah.
It's just so much more of the culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I met a girl.
Yeah.
In the high school.
In high school. Yeah.
Was it like early on when you first transferred to that school?
No. I met her like at the beginning of my senior year. So I first moved there like middle of my junior year. Met a girl then too, but she was not very flirty to converting.
Oh, all right.
And I was
she
like,
Mormon,
I really like you. And she's like, you're not Mormon.
Oh,
yeah.
Got it.
She was like, no.
No chance.
Not
Not
interested.
at all.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I see no hope in you. Yeah.
Right.
Oof.
She was right. Yeah. Ultimately, like compatibility.
Sure.
No.
Rejection.
Yeah, I think she saw. She was smart.
But this one,
But
she was looking to change you.
Yeah. She was a little more
wow.
inviting. She didn't invite me to church like right off the bat. It was more of like a slow game. She played it well. Yeah.
Apparently.
When you're a new kid in Utah in a high school, everyone kind of gloms on.
Is it like being at church?
Who are you and what are you? Yeah.
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 Right.
Love bomb.
Yeah.
The fellowship.
So I don't remember where in the mix we met, but it was something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I just remember everyone just being like, what are you all about? Your hair's long.
What?
Yeah. You look different.
You're not from around here, are you?
Yeah. It was pretty obvious I was not.
So she reeled you in slowly. What was it that finally got you to say, okay, I'll talk to the missionaries?
Did she ask you?
She asked me. It wasn't like you talk to the missionaries or I'll never talk to you. It's like, I really like you.
If we're going to keep going.
If we're going to keep hanging out, I need to know that there's at least, she didn't frame it like you need to get baptized. She framed it like, I need to know that you're open to
The possibility.
to talking. Like, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at that point, it was like full forced. It was one of those things where after she had the talk with me in the basement in their game room, and I came upstairs.
Game room.
Wow. The parents were kind of like,
Oh, dear.
how did it go?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
my God.
Like it was a planned.
Sure.
Like, I'm going to talk to Jordan today about
We're
that.
all in on
or
this.
or the parents were like, you need to talk to. I don't know exactly how.
Sure, but it was premeditated.
You could tell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then I was like, yeah, I'll go to church. It was that first. Like, I'll go to church. And then now that you've gone to church with us, and after church, it was like, come over and we have the dinner
Okay.
and the whole thing.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
These slow steps.
Yeah.
At this point,
Mm-hmm.
did you have any idea where this was going?
No, I was enjoying the love
serious
bomb. I was
this
enjoying
was.
the love bomb. I had no
Okay.
idea. Yeah. It was
Okay.
it felt very welcoming and
Sure.
accepting. And I was like totally falling for it,
Yeah.
you know, because I was coming from a pretty broken household. And if you go to Centerville, what's that movie with Tobey Maguire.
Pleasantville.
It's very Pleasantville-y.
Okay, so like idyllic.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody's smiling.
Everyone's lawn
blonde,
is,
happy.
Oh my. Everyone.
Our families are perfect. Oh my gosh. We go to Lagoon every weekend.
Minivans.
Lagoon. Yeah. So I was kind of like, I was drawn in. I was like, this feels warm. It feels nice.
I could have this.
I think religion is crazy, but if this is
If it leads to
crazy,
this.
Sign me up. You were sold.
I wasn't sold, but I was definitely interested.
Okay.
It's like,
Give it a shot.
Yeah. I was at a point in my life having confronted like that truth of like, I'm not going to graduate. I need to do something. It really kind of stepped my perception of like, maybe I'm wrong about maybe I've been doing some things wrong.
Okay.
And I was under that kind of like that mindset at the time, like looking for growth, looking for the possibility that I was wrong about life. So you guys do this in these segments.
Yeah.
Only when we do the video.
Yeah. Well, I've watched a couple of the videos ones, and your editing is spectacular because you can't. Mm-mm. You can tell there's a cut, but it's never just like what?
Yeah. 5 minutes later.
You were saying that you were like really happy to be feeling this, and the next thing I was gonna say was you felt like, oh, maybe this could be good for me.
Yes.
Like I want to improve my life. I want to make this change. I really got to get it together. Yeah. This can't be bad. It can't hurt.
The first thoughts were not, this is true.
Right.
The first thoughts were, this is better than what I've got.
Yeah. And you didn't realize that this is either going to end in you being baptized or you breaking up.
I didn't at that point.
Okay.
It was presented to me as like, I just need to see
that you're
open to.
Sure.
This is important to me. I grew up and this is my beliefs and I need you to at least be interested in
Yeah. The gravity
kind of
was not there.
No.
You're just along for the ride.
Yeah, I was like, I was pretty just like, this was my first like high school girlfriend.
Yeah.
I was pretty dumb. You know?
Well, yeah,
as all high school boys are.
To
a certain extent.
You like me? Okay.
I'll do anything.
I'll do it.
You like me. Yeah. It was very, very much that. Yeah.
So you went to church a few times?
A few times.
Like consecutively?
Yes.
Okay.
That's another thing is like I really liked this girl and we got to spend all Sunday together. Like I would drive over to their house. Like I wouldn't even meet them at church. I would drive and then we'd all walk to church or whatever. And then it was like dinner, Sunday dinner.
Right.
Even naps.
Oh yeah.
Take a nap on the couch.
You're
on the couch.
In your Sunday best. Still.
In my Sunday best still.
Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're part of the family.
And then maybe dinner and a movie.
And
then, hey, see you, Jordan. And I don't hold, these people were doing exactly what their culture tells them to do.
Sure.
And I don't view it as
manipulative
in the sense that they knew they were being manipulative.
Yeah.
I view it as manipulative in that this is manipulative.
They were
and
manipulative.
The church culture. Culture. The church tells you to do those things. Yeah.
How can you? Get them to come to church.
Yeah.
Systems, not people. Like they were just doing what they knew how to do.
At what point do you have the first discussion?
I remember it was snowing out, so it must have been like December-ish, November-ish.
At her house, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of the lessons were at her house. And I remember the two elders. I don't remember their names, but I can see their faces. They seemed like really cool, like older than me, but not too old.
Yeah.
Super responsible.
Relatable.
Like, funny. Cool dudes.
Cool guys.
Yeah. Cool guys.
So cool.
Yeah. And then becoming one of those quote unquote cool guys later. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
How cool were they? Right before I came home for Christmas that December of my senior year, they gave me the invitation to get baptized, to pray about it and get baptized. I got the fourth. Isn't that the fourth discussion?
I mean,
the pray about
the
it.
Latest. I mean,
yeah. Well, I was a tough cookie, obviously.
Tough nut to crack.
When you started the sessions or the lessons, did you understand again the gravity?
No. I didn't know that ultimately. Not like I understand now, having served a mission,
right?
And like,
because Because now you understand what the missionaries were thinking.
Exactly. Yeah. And what my girlfriend was thinking and what her family was thinking and the whole ward when they saw me.
Yeah.
You know, at the point I was just doing my due diligence and being like, I investigated it. Not for me, you know?
Yeah.
And I totally thought like if at the end of these and I said, not for me, then she would be like, thank you for at least.
For trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to do this Friday?
Do you have...
Like at that point, I thought that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So you thought there was still a chance for you to continue.
Yeah.
Even if you said, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So like, do you remember any instances of the lessons? Like, do you remember her sharing her testimony or like any questions that the missionaries asked you? Or like, do you remember preparing for them? Like, were you invested at all?
I always did the reading that they asked me to do.
Okay.
You give reading every discussion.
Sure.
Reading
Homework.
assignments. And I did all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of them bearing their testimony and getting emotional.
The missionaries.
Yeah. I had already heard my then girlfriend's testimony at a fast and testimony meeting.
Okay.
Which
She did that for you, bud.
Intentional.
Yeah. I also heard a woman giving a testimony about a
there's always-
refrigerator or something. Said that.
There's so many great testimony.
It was one of the
stories.
first times I went to church with them. It was a fast and testimony meeting, and I was like,
boy.
really?
Whew.
And they were probably all like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
Oh, not
Please.
this one. Oh,
Yeah.
not today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang it.
Well, yeah. Takes all types, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But you were reading the Book of Mormon.
I was reading what they gave me. I was not going ahead.
Sure.
I wasn't. Yeah.
Not doing anything extra, just exactly what was asked of you.
Mhm.
Okay. And you were going to church.
Yep.
Do you remember praying on your own independently about it?
The first time I did, I remember over Christmas break. I came home. It was one of the sadder Christmases I had yet experienced.
Oregon.
To Oregon. I came back here. My parents had just split up. I remember feeling a pretty dark presence around Christmas that year.
Yeah.
And I remember praying outdoors because
Oh, wow.
Justice Smith did.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
There you go.
Yeah. It was
There you
during
go.
the nighttime, though.
Oh, wow.
Something entered me.
There was a secluded space.
It was the only time I could do it in secret. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were called an investigator? Because I feel like a lot of the people that I taught on my mission, they didn't know what they were labeled as.
If someone had said, Jordan's investigating the church, I had probably heard that, but I didn't know that was my title.
Got it.
And then I had become a noun.
Right.
Investigator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So when you prayed, how did that go?
There was a gust of wind, and I interpreted it.
There it is.
Yeah. Wow. I looking back, like I know I was looking for something.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for any kind of like being in that kind of dark Christmas, knowing how much I liked this girl. I really liked her a lot. She was a sweetheart. I know that I was just anything could have happened at that time.
Yeah. And
A
you
fly
were
could have landed on my nose, you know.
comparing like dark,
Yeah.
sad Christmas
Yeah.
with my, like not connected family.
Yeah.
And then this like being in a hug in Utah.
And I
Sunday
and
dinners
Christmas
and
time in
naps.
Utah, Temple Square,
Oh, yeah.
Christmas time,
Can't beat that.
gorgeous.
Light the
Yeah.
shit up.
Dang. We went like ice skating downtown. There's like an ice
Hallelujah.
skating
Of course.
rink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It was just like comparing, like it was black and white. It was like it's like all religion. It's like, it's either this or it's this, nothing else.
That's right.
Eternal sadness or
Yeah.
the only truth
Yeah.
in
exactly.
the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went back and I said, let's do it.
And had you
Dunk
been
me.
extended the invitation to be baptized before you went home for that Christmas break?
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
extent. That was the invitation that was given. Was like, will you get baptized? Will you pray about it? Yeah,
And did they set a date?
I remember them setting dates. I remember them saying, by the time you get back, like, will you pray by the time you get back?
Okay.
Because they knew I was going to Oregon.
And one of us is getting transferred, and we really need this.
And we
number.
need to pick up the pace here, Jordan.
Can you imagine serving a mission in Utah?
Oh,
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
They eat so well. I bet.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's
Too well.
spoiled.
Yeah.
We didn't even get bikes in our mission. That's a different
Oh,
story.
well, we'll
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
We will get
You
there.
didn't, you didn't
Yeah.
get much. You got to. Well, oof, yeah.
So when you came back to Utah, did they like kick it into gear? Were they like, okay, you got to get baptized now?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
pretty much like, you got your answers, so let's do it. And
Yeah.
I think by the end of January, if I remember correctly, I was baptized. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When was the discussion happening around year 18? Do you want to serve a mission?
Oh, that was almost immediately.
Ooh.
Yeah. What was weird as a non-member in Utah, in a Utah high school, is like being one of the only kids that didn't go to seminary one period a day.
Yeah.
And I'm just feeling like, what goes on in there?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So after I got baptized, the love bombing increased.
Oh, boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like, come tell your story in seminary this
Oh,
period.
Yeah, converts.
Now you're a tool.
I am. Yeah. I can't. I couldn't even tell you how many different wards I was asked to speak in.
Wow.
Just like constantly.
Wow.
Like I was definitely being
Wow.
held up as like,
Going on
look at
tour.
what we did.
This is our star.
We did this.
Woo!
Yes.
Was the seminary building like next to the school? Was it
In
separate?
the parking lot.
Oh.
On the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the
It was
grounds.
like, oop, out one door, in the other.
Wow.
That's where the talks of the mission like first started.
When you're hearing talks of a mission, did you put it together that like you're going to be the guys that taught you?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it was kind of presented.
Okay.
It's like all of those friends I was making in that high school, all of the guys were talking about their mission.
Yeah.
You know, it was something that was talked about even before I started investigating the church. These guys around me were talking about like, well,
Farewells.
next year I'll be, blah, blah, blah. During my time investigating, I had seen a returned missionary talk.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's sister's boyfriend got back from his mission during that same time too.
Oh.
So there was all I even saw like the after mission expectations,
Ooh.
right? Like play out in front of me. Like
Yeah.
she was getting ready to get married and getting her
Whoa.
hope chest together and all that
Dear
stuff.
God.
Yeah. They
So
were on
you're
top of it.
seeing-
All those girls had all their hope chests ready.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So you're seeing like how interconnected that whole aspect
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm. I was
Okay.
seeing the cycle right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
as someone who did not have indoctrination in their whole life up to then, because really, I mean, how many missionaries out there even really know the things that we know now?
Right.
But you had nothing. You had 4 discussions.
Yeah. Well,
What
I
the
mean,
hell-
I finished the discussions, and then you have the new member discussions
Yeah.
after you get baptized.
But this is such a hodgepodge, whitewashed,
very scripted. Very
Yeah.
scripted.
just bullet point overview of what the gospel is,
Yeah.
which I guess is all you really need to know in order to go out there and teach. But
Yeah.
how could you have felt confident in,
Well, at that point, I wasn't seriously considering it yet.
yeah,
Actually going.
Yeah, it was explained to me almost immediately. Like, even if you do want to go on a mission, it's not like the others where you can leave at 18.
mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to wait a year, and then you can go. So I knew that, and I was like, okay, I'll take that under consideration. So I had to like figure out like, what am I gonna do for that year after high school? Like, am I gonna go to college or whatever? Then 9/11 happened.
Oh, wow.
I was going to the University of Utah. And at that point, it was just kind of like, yeah, maybe I will apply for a mission.
So you had already started college.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big switch.
Yeah. I think everybody kind of went through some existential stuff around that time.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? And just out of high school, it was a weird time to be graduating
Yeah.
and starting
Right.
college and watching war begin, and
Right.
probably what a lot of seniors are feeling right now.
Yeah, probably.
Probably even worse, the pandemic plus war.
Yeah,
plus,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Did that play a big role in your decision?
I think it did. I think it threw me for a loop. It made my future seem a lot more uncertain. And I think that's an easy way for a guy to spend 2 years. Be like, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing for 2 years.
Well, that's
Yeah.
fair. You can't beat that.
And maybe I don't know what I want to study right now, but I could take 2 years and hopefully not get sent to Idaho on my mission.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go somewhere cool.
Yeah, maybe.
You know? So
I can see
yeah,
that.
the intentions weren't entirely pure. Like, I want to go
You were kind of just buying
spread
time.
the gospel.
The gospel.
Let me take you to the gospel.
We will save your life and your soul.
We need to suture your soul.
Yep.
I never became like full missionary brained until halfway through my second stay at
Yeah.
the MTC.
So let's get there.
That's a little
Buckle up,
ahead.
everybody, and we got to
Yeah.
get
Okay, so you decide you're going to go on a mission.
Yeah.
How excited is your girlfriend?
Super stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you like, when I get back, we'll get married? Are we talking about that?
Yeah. But not seriously from her part.
It's like, if you do this, then
Yeah. This is
It's on
pretty
the
much the
table.
only way I would marry you.
Yeah,
Is if you, and in my head, I was
Wow.
like, okay, cool. You're going to wait for me?
Mhm.
And in her head, she's like, maybe.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
You're really
Yeah.
jumping through a lot of hoops here.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to the MTC. What is your first
Well,
24
wait, where do you
hours?
get called?
Sure.
Yeah. I got called to the Buenos Aires Sur South Mission.
Not Idaho.
Not Idaho.
Far from Idaho.
I knew nothing about Argentina.
We
Did you
stoked?
open your call with her family?
No, I opened it with her alone in my car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you were really close.
I guess.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
thought so?
Well, I mean, it didn't have the same weight for me.
Sure.
Everyone around me, so I was still living with my best friend's family who are LDS and Matt's family. And
Right.
kudos to them. Both of them, both parents were like, are you sure
Oh, yeah.
you want to do this? For everything, for the
Wow.
baptism, for
Why
the
are
mission.
you doing this?
They knew me. They'd known me since I was a kid. And I think they probably saw something I didn't. They saw me getting wrapped up with a girl.
Mhm.
And yeah, to their credit, they were like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And then when I said, I'm sure, then they 100% backed me.
Yeah.
You know, they were never like, I don't think you should do this. But they definitely brought up, like, think about it twice.
2 years?
At least.
2 years is a long time.
Yeah. Or even the baptism. It's like, this is a commitment.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
you're joining this.
You're in it.
Yeah.
They'll find you.
So I can't
You
remember.
don't know how with us you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
Forever.
Were you stoked? Were you like shocked?
I was really excited.
Yeah.
I was glad that I was going to learn a different language.
Mhm.
Sure.
I was glad it wasn't in the United States.
Phew.
But as I said, I didn't know anything about Argentina,
Sure.
so I didn't know what to expect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was doing a lot of Googling. Wasn't really a thing, but a lot
Right.
of as much interneting as you
Yeah.
could back
Yahoo.
then.
Did they help you get ready to go?
So many people helped me get ready to
Oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah. A
It
lot
takes
of
a
people
village.
Matt's
Suits?
mom took me to go shopping for a bunch of stuff. Suits were like gifted to me.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
None of my suits fit my whole mission, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were going to have to
Wear the same outfit
because
every day?
your award helped you pay for your mission, right?
Yeah. I threw every cent I had in the bank.
Okay.
I emptied my entire bank accounts, which wasn't a lot,
Regrets.
but
Sure,
it was
but-
like a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
And then the ward covered the rest. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
He's our star guy. We gotta
Yeah.
support him.
This
We're
is
gonna
our
keep him
superstar.
around.
This is our superstar convert, man.
Huh.
Yeah. Wow.
So, what's your first 24 hours in the MTC? You get there, you're dumped off.
Hard.
And you're like-
back then, so we had very different drop-off stories.
Okay.
You were like curbside dropped, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rushed
we were
away.
taken into a room
Oh.
with the people that brought me, which was Matt and his family and my girlfriend.
Hmm.
Wow.
They sat with me. They do like a little thingy, and then they're like missionaries through this door and parents and family,
Oh,
which
wow.
is your girlfriend's not supposed to go with you.
Mhm.
Parents and family, you may leave now.
Yeah.
Rule breaker.
And then you're just like taken straight to your district and
wow.
yeah, so it was tough. I was like immediately, it was very clear even through the whole thing that like this thing has significance because of this relationship that I have.
Sure. And now we're separating.
And now it's like I'm either going to be miserable for the next 2 years, or
Yeah.
I'm going to
Oh,
get serious
no.
about this and decide if I want to be a good missionary.
Sure.
Quote unquote. Yeah. Oh, then it's straight to the barber.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Really?
cut that hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very military. Yeah.
Wow.
You're going to be there for a while. And if
Yeah.
you're a boy, an elder man with the
Mhm.
priesthood,
That's
if
right.
you got big boy priesthood, you're going to need to keep that hair short. And
Right.
so you get it cut as short as possible right off the bat because you're definitely going to need
Yeah.
another haircut while you're there.
Oh,
right.
So,
Yeah.
Wait, so maybe we skipped over. You would have gotten your endowments before you went to the MTC, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Bountiful Temple.
Ooh,
How did
baby.
we forget this?
Okay,
Okay.
so were you prepared for what you were going to do in the temple?
Did
You-
anyone tell you?
Yeah, there's temple prep courses.
Sure. So you
Right.
did the class.
Yeah, I did the classes.
Right.
Yeah. So I was pretty aware.
Class.
Yeah.
It's like someone from the war.
Signs and tokens.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember anybody specifying. even that.
Oh, I was
Detailed.
told. I think maybe there was greater care taken because I was a convert to be like,
Okay.
this is exactly what's going to happen. And it was laid out to me.
Don't get
As
scared.
explicit as they could.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I understand some things have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because you didn't do any of this.
I didn't do any of this.
Or
Right.
this.
So,
Sure, but you still
So there's a frock. Is that the correct term?
a poncho.
A poncho.
So you mean in the initiatory?
in the initiatory.
Okay.
And which for me was the creepiest part.
Because they did
Sure.
steal you up.
Because I was
Back then.
completely nude.
You were completely nude.
You have to be completely nude back then.
Back
Okay,
then.
yeah. Tell us as you
And so the
experienced.
oil touched.
on your neck.
And then in the frock, the stomach, and then down the rib cage.
Oh, strange.
And it was just like an old dude. Like,
Oh, strange.
Yeah.
It was like probably the 1,000th he'd done that day, and he was just like going through it really fast. So it didn't feel like
Whoa.
It
Yeah.
didn't feel like this guy
Like-
likes it. No, it wasn't like
it's
that.
I
Sure.
don't want to have to do this, but this is what we do.
Yeah,
here.
this is what we do here.
Yeah. So this
Wow.
would have been the Masonic
Right.
rites, which they would have taken out.
Yeah.
So that's like, if I reveal the covenants I take this day, I would slice
Yeah.
my throat from year to year, rip out my tongue from its roots,
Yeah, they didn't. None of that.
disembowel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's in the temple thing, there's like this and health
Yeah.
in the
Sure.
Health in the navel, strength in the bones,
Yeah.
Right.
the loins and the sinews.
Yeah.
Yada,
Power of the
yada.
priesthood. Yeah. Me. Meow, meow, meow.
Yeah.
Meow meow meow.
And you
There's no
learned,
time.
you learned that you would be wearing your garments for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right.
How'd you feel about
Beshies?
that?
Because of Adam and Eve.
I hated them. They were so uncomfortable.
Cotton?
Yeah. Didn't yeah.
Onesies? What do you got?
I mean, shorts and a shirt, you
Yeah,
know, but
right.
like really long shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear boxer briefs, same idea,
Sure.
except like 2 feet longer.
Yeah.
You know?
Not comfortable.
Not comfortable.
Weird symbols on
You're
them.
swimming in your underwear.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah.
white. I don't know.
And it's not like
Yeah.
you grew up
you're,
seeing your
under-
parents in
if
them.
it's like,
Right.
if it's like hanging out, it's hanging out. Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious
Yep.
what you got on.
Yeah. Wow.
So you go through that whole thing at any time when you're doing that, and you're like,
I
wow, what?
I
is
was just
this now?
constantly like, I was constantly being
Like recalibrating.
just saying like, I'm new to this.
Yeah.
Like just because it feels weird to me, it's
Right.
just because I'm new. It's not because it's weird.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not because it's weird.
It's not because it's weird.
Were you aware that you would be watching a film?
No, that was also weird to me. I was like, oh, we would watch a movie?
Yeah.
Really
a really
poorly
long,
acted.
repetitive.
Yeah. Were you aware that it was around Adam and Eve? That would be a significant portion?
No.
So you knew you would be doing all the signs and tokens, but you didn't know. You'd
Yeah.
be watching the earth be created, then commented on.
Eventually they made a new one that was much better. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks way cooler.
Right.
The one that you would have saw would probably have been around for a decade or more.
it had been. I think it's the classic one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best Satan.
Yeah,
The Michael
yeah.
Mal.
Oh,
what
yeah.
was his name?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The like operatic Satan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the 70s version.
Definitely the best Satan.
I loved Eve's shoes in that. I
Yeah.
just have to say, she
Yeah.
had great fashion. That's, I wanted those shoes. Anyway, not important.
Yeah, it was funny. There's like the prologue, which is like a lot of scenery and flying through, and
Yeah.
then this,
Jehovah.
and like all that was like up to date. It was like more modern and beautiful, and,
Yeah.
and obviously more modern cameras. And then it cut to that version
Oh,
of
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and I was like, wait, what happened to the pretty?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first time through the veil, like I was trying to absorb it. I wanted to hear it and think about it. But then you have to immediately repeat it back. So I kept messing up and I ended up having to have a helper come
Yeah.
and like
As you do.
basically tell me what to say,
Yeah.
which was my girlfriend's father.
Shut up.
Whoa.
Was he your escort?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did he stand with you? Who stood with you in the prayer circle? Do you remember?
Oh, I think her mom was there too.
Was she there?
Yeah.
Had
no,
she
no,
been-
no,
she
no,
had
no,
been
no,
endowed?
No.
So did like you hold her mom's hand?
I think I did. And I think her
Interesting.
sister was there, maybe because she had maybe just gone through because she was getting married to
Wow.
that returned missionary.
Wow, dude.
Lord.
Yeah. The whole family was there.
I mean, that's the
But
But they
weirdest
were
part
giving
of
me
it.
this look like
So
that.
proud. So proud.
Oh no!
Yeah. You've come so far.
I think the
Oh,
prayer
wow.
circle is the creepiest part for me, honestly.
It's a little weird.
Like that's when the women veil their faces
Yeah.
and you do this thing and then you
Yeah.
do this thing and then you're like, and then you're repeating after the person who's saying it, and it's
Yeah.
just like you're all chanting.
Yeah, it's
and
very.
it's
a rite.
Hear the
Hear the
words of my mouth. And,
Okay,
no.
you're like bringing. I didn't even remember that stuff.
There you go.
I didn't remember that
It's all
stuff.
coming
Yes.
screaming back to
I
you.
remember being very, very weirded out by that. Yeah.
Were you like opening your eyes? Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was peeking looks. I was caught. I was like, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
When people have asked me what goes on, it's like you can walk them through that and say, this is what we do. And they'll be like, weird.
Yeah.
But you don't really feel how weird it is unless you're in it.
Yeah.
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 And the expectation is that you buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Like you walk through that veil and then they greet you in the celestial room and you're like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Is that
I
what
had
you
no
said?
feeling like that. I had no feel. I remember,
Did you pretend?
I was like, beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's so
beautiful.
white.
Which
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Sterile.
Yeah.
But beautiful.
The first time I saw that footage, man, I was like, wow. So glad I didn't make it that far.
Yeah.
And I can't believe, because my parents would have gone through in the early 80s when they were still doing all of this.
Yeah.
And they were not freaked out.
They weren't. Or maybe they were. That's the thing. It's
yeah, I don't really know.
yeah, you just can't know. You can
Yeah.
never know. There's such pressure put on members to just,
But also, I would be upset.
this is the right thing, right? It's there's a lot of pressure to not be the person that's doubting.
Oh, yeah.
It's like just by doubting,
give you
you're
the
letting
opportunity to
Satan
leave.
in your heart. You know,
They give you the opportunity. If you're going to leave now,
Yeah.
basically. Who's going to?
no
who's
one's
do
gonna. Yeah, no one likes those
well,
optics. Yeah,
yeah.
because
So-
then it's gonna spread quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Someone there is gonna
Oh,
tell
yeah.
their best friend in the ward
Oh,
the
yeah.
next day or that night.
It's not
For
even,
sure.
It's not like they prop open the door and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
like you want to go. No, it's like,
cares to leave,
seriously.
the Lord is watching you if you'd like to leave. Yeah.
Well, if I was of that generation and then I was still going to the temple to do temple work and stuff, and I'd see how much it changes. Like they don't have to do
Right.
that stuff that I had to do.
Right.
And it's only gotten more and more. Like they don't even do it the way
Yeah.
you did it. anymore.
Exactly.
They
or
just-
that I did
It's
it.
just a dab on the head and
hmm
you're not naked. You're already in your temple clothes.
Wow.
So
I would have appreciated that.
yeah, no
I
kidding.
felt very
Violated.
exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, I convinced other people to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the MTC. At any point in those first few days where you're like,
Yeah.
should I?
Yeah.
What?
Constantly. I was like, what am I doing here?
Oh, well,
Just
yeah.
constantly.
Did you get a companion straight away?
Yes.
Okay.
I had a companion who I'm still friends with to this day.
Oh,
That's cool.
really?
Yeah.
Was
So
it the
I
same
got
person
lucky.
the whole time?
The first time? Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
They feed you good, lots of sugar.
Yeah.
That's the best way to start the day.
No, I dove in. I gained a lot of weight.
Oh,
right
wow.
away.
Just in the MDC?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was like, I've never had so much food available to me in my
Oh,
life.
my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of options.
I was also going in as like a smoker. So I had to
That's
kick
right.
I had to kick the nicotine.
Yeah.
I was a Jack Mormon like from the get.
Sure.
I'd never quite quit smoking.
So up until that point, had you gone
Which
like
is
what?
probably why I couldn't feel the spirit.
A week?
What's that?
Had you gone like a week sober? Or like what?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like a party animal back then,
Sure.
but I was smoking daily.
Yeah.
So it was like a week of like kind of fidgety and
Mhm.
like sweats and stuff. And
Not
didn't-
helping.
You didn't tell anybody about that.
no. Yeah, I didn't feel
Were you sleeping okay?
no,
Like,
not really.
Yeah.
It was
can't
very
imagine that was
uncomfortable.
helpful. Or
Yeah.
were you praying with your companion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're just like, if I had known him the way I know him now,
Yeah.
it would have been completely different. But for all assumptions, like this guy grew up in the church.
Mhm.
Sure.
He's really gung ho about this. Who am I to make his
Yeah.
experience in any less? I'm just going to go for it. Like, I'm here. What am I going to do? I'm going to just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still active?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank God.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Crazy.
So how long did it take before you realized that you needed to get some things off of your chest, as it were? You were expecting to be there, 2 months?
It's 2 months for Spanish speaking
Yeah.
missions. Yeah.
Then
5 months for Chinese speaking missions. If you can imagine being at the MTC for 5 months.
2 weeks was an eternity.
Wow.
Poor Jordan.
It's a long time.
So
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. It's a long time. I actually reread this experience in my journal. I was having a frustrating moment with the language. We were having like language classes.
Yeah.
And I started crying because I do that when I'm frustrated.
Like in the room.
One of our teachers brought us aside. He was
Okay.
like, "What's up? Like, are you studying?" And I was like, "I don't know. Things are really, I don't know." And it all just kind of like came out. And then he suggested, without me saying anything, he was like, he gave like his confession story about when he was a missionary and he confessed some things, got it off his chest, and then he was ready to go. So the Spirit moved him, I guess. I think it's probably pretty common.
Yeah.
They probably tell the teachers, like, if you see a kid who's like really frustrated, something's probably up.
Yeah.
Encourage him to confess. Step 1, encourage him to confess.
Sure. Was he talking to you one-on-one or with your companion?
One-on-one. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Like, was he your MTC teacher for that like portion of the day?
I don't know how it is for stateside missionaries, but when you're learning a different language, you have like 2 teachers, morning and evening.
That are like specified.
They're specifically teaching your district.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just for the language or the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Gospel too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you have to memorize the discussions in that language.
Oh, God. Were you more frustrated about the language and like less so about the details of the lessons?
I think I was frustrated with just being there. I felt like almost immediately, like I remember the prevailing feeling those first couple nights was like, I have to give my next 2 years of my life to this. Like, I felt like I was diverging pretty severely from where I wanted to go. Even though I didn't know where I wanted to go. I just felt like I was diverging. Yeah. And I felt that frustration throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 2 years just sounds so much longer than a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like they're both long, but like 6 months
especially when you're 19.
Yeah.
So you're just having a hard time in general. Plus a foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
Plus learning to teach.
Yes. Teach.
This religion you just newly converted to.
Mm-hmm. But, bright side, I had the most recent experience with the discussions.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember my missionary did this during this time. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, worked on me.
Worked on me.
Fair enough.
So you decided, you're right, I should talk to the bishop, I guess. Or
Was it
like the MTC
district president.
Okay.
The branch president?
Branch president, yes.
Yeah.
Who I'd never met previous to talking to him, sitting down.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a way to get to know somebody.
Yeah. Oh, prior to that, too, I got my patriarchal blessing in the MTC.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, boy, man, really stacking it up.
Yeah. I had never gotten it, and no one had ever talked to me about it. And I told somebody that, and they called the patriarch from my ward in Centerville.
Whoa.
And he was like, must have been 120.
Yeah.
Like he was a really old dude.
He
drove all the way down to Provo from Centerville and gave me my patriarchal blessing in the MTC. So I know I only bring that up because I know that's not common.
Not typical.
Yeah. Not typical.
Was it pretty prototypical? The blessing itself?
Yeah, it was pretty much like
what you would expect.
Yeah. He brought up the word of wisdom specifically though.
Oh.
So I was carrying some guilt about that.
Ooh.
As we stated, I was a smoker.
Yeah.
Going into the MTC.
Yeah.
So you speak with Mr. Branch President.
Mr. Branch President. And he wasn't immediately like, you're going home for this. He actually told me the secret to a happy marriage, physical relationship.
Wow.
You got to save it.
Yeah. He said, make sure she's happy and then you'll be happy.
Jeez.
And I was like, what a weird thing to say right now.
You're like, I'm struggling with addiction. And he's like, make sure you have sex when you get married.
I mean, it is good advice for that. Like, make sure your partner's taken care of.
Sure.
But maybe not what you say to a missionary who's supposed to be chaste for the next 2 years, who's confessing you to
you don't
things.
need to confess to us, but the reason that you felt the need to unburden yourself was you and the girlfriend.
We crossed some lines. We crossed some lines, yeah.
What
you might call Levi loving.
Yeah.
There's some Levi loving.
Yeah.
You know?
So at first he was not going to send you home. How did you get to that point?
No, it wasn't, we're not going to send you home. It was, your bishop needs to be notified.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's his jurisdiction.
Because I guess it happened back then.
Yeah.
And you go through a bishop's interview, you go through a stake president interview before you're deemed worthy to go on the
Right.
mission. And I had lied to both of them.
Oh, boy.
So it had to be circled back.
Oh,
We're going to circle back on this application, son.
So you'd been there at least 4 weeks or something.
At least. I think I was there for maybe
think you said
5 or
6.
6 weeks at
Yeah.
that point. Yeah. It had been over a month. I'd gotten my patriarchal blessing. I'd seen an elder die in the gym. His heart exploded. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Like I
Didn't
went
you say
through
like you went up?
he went up for a layup and just like boom,
my
legs did not catch.
God.
He just hit everyone, the whole gym. I told him that. It's the most eerie, one of the most eerie. The whole MTC gym because there's like
Oh my
layers with the
God.
track and stuff above. Everyone just dropped to their knees, started praying.
Shut.
Yeah,
What?
and I was like, somebody call an ambulance.
Yeah.
Somebody actually do something.
No, he passed away.
That's crazy.
He just passed out.
He had a heart problem.
Oh, like
Yeah.
a
I think a valve.
pre-existing condition.
Yeah, I think so that they didn't know about.
You got to get a physical before you go
But
on your
he
mission.
was a convert also.
Oh.
So I remember thinking like his family must be
Oh.
getting pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Well, I'll work around it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's
tough.
so sad.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah,
Did that shake you up?
It did. It shook me up. I was like, because especially going to one of the things that happens in the MTC if you're going out of country is they give you more details on the country you're going to and specifically the mission you're going to. And the mission I was being sent to is this, in terms of violence against missionaries, the second most dangerous in the world at the time.
Wow.
So you think about that. Not am I going to die doing a layup, but am I going to die on the mission? Especially like
Layups for the Lord.
nothing wrapped up with relationships with my family. There's obviously some disconnect when they're like, oh, you're in a religion going on a mission now.
Yeah.
You know?
Whoa, man.
Yeah. So it was a lot of, am I saying goodbye for now or for forever?
That's a really stressful
Also, we're going to be
situation.
in different levels of heaven.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy it now, smoothie.
Oh.
So they do.
So they,
You go through the bishop, the stake president, and
they
they
loop
say,
it back.
"Guess what?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to start over."
Yeah. Girlfriend's dad was in the bishopric at the time.
Yeah.
So I had to have a conversation with him.
And this is Bishop
one-on-one.
Roulette too, because had you had a different bishop, maybe he would have been like, it's fine. You know, just keep going.
Interesting story. Second time around, inspired by my story, an elder in my district confesses to things worse than what I was doing and stays.
Oh,
So it's all subjective.
Worse than Levi
Oh.
Loving? Does it get worse? Sorry.
could it be worse?
Worse. I say worse in terms of that.
Sure.
I think it's completely normal for high school kids
Right.
to
Yeah.
No, we know
experiment
what you
with
mean.
that stuff. But
So, like, you get sent home to Utah or to Oregon?
Utah.
Okay.
And my
Whoa.
Back to
bishop,
Matt's.
Are you
hooks me up with
totally
a
embarrassed?
job. Oh yeah,
Oh,
mortified,
no.
mortified. I'm not allowed to hang out with the girlfriend.
Yeah.
No.
We're no longer allowed to see each other.
Had you
you
already
Wow.
broken up?
Not yet.
Okay.
Are you still set apart?
I was for a week.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then they finally released me.
Oh, no.
But you're like, okay, I'll atone and I'll go back.
I didn't know. At that point, I was just super depressed.
Yeah.
You're built up as this
Yeah, yeah.
special case, and then you let everyone down, and you just feel like
Sure.
you're a POS.
And could you tell that people were disappointed?
Yeah.
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 You got demoted from
I
superstar
was super
baptism rock
demoted.
star?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't even rock star. I was
Oh.
Oof.
I was working the bishop had a business working. It was a miserable job. And then I decided to go back to Oregon. I was like, I'm not
Wow.
doing this. I'm going to go back to Oregon.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the essential period that before you could even reapply?
Mm.
6 months?
It was 6 months, then you can reapply.
Reapply.
You have to write an essay of why you've atoned, how you've atoned for what you've done.
Oh my God.
And you write it to the presidency.
As if you haven't
Accor-
been through enough.
According to what I was
The
told,
first presidency?
GB Hinks read my letter, and he made the ultimate call. on me.
Oh, oh
GB Hanks.
damn.
Mhm.
Himself.
Apparently. And there's no guarantee that you're going back to the same mission.
Right.
You could just be like, all right, you're going to Jerome, Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What makes you decide to go ahead and reapply?
lack of options.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure.
And hopes that the girlfriend would appreciate the.
So were you still like seeing each other?
It was
contact?
like on and off, break up, back together.
Yeah.
Break
Sure.
up. Yeah. That kind of thing.
So you go back 6 months later and you're like, oh, I'm
And
I'm
you
gonna
got
get it
called to
this
the
time.
same mission.
Same mission. I was grateful for that.
Yeah, I bet.
I'd already done so much work
of
with
course.
the language that I was like,
They would-
I better go to Spanish speaking language.
They would
or
kind of
mission.
at least be obliged to do a Spanish
You would
speaking if it
think.
wasn't the same one.
You wouldn't know, but yeah.
You know?
Your mission, should you choose to accept it
Yeah.
again.
So I sent that letter off to GB Hinks and totally expected to be like, no, because I wasn't going to church at the time.
Mm.
I was full on like, I was working on a tree farm, smoking a pack a day,
Yeah.
drinking beer. So here's the thing. I get the call and it's basically like, you have 72 hours to get back to the MTC.
Oh,
Yeah, essentially.
wow.
And my bishop in Centerville buys me a plane ticket. I hadn't cut my hair since the MTC,
Right.
so I was like shagged out.
Yeah.
I remember smoking a couple cigarettes, waiting for my flight, and then throwing the pack in, knowing that like, sayonara,
Yep.
I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Land. Bishop picks me up, takes me to a barber in the middle of the night. Like it's not open. He had
What?
a
Oh,
friend or
yeah.
somebody, or someone had a friend.
Sweeney Todd.
Get my hair cut, drive me down from Bountiful to Provo, which is about an hour drive
In the middle
in
of
the
the night.
middle of the night. And
So, you,
and
so you're
then
just there in the morning.
I show up to the dorm and I go in. This is your door. You got the top bunk, and I walk in and there's two sleeping elders, and I became their third.
Wow.
And we were a throuple.
You were just there in the morning.
Yeah. They had given my district like a heads up. Hey, you're going to have a new missionary joining you tonight. Like that day they had told me.
Whoa.
I told them. They didn't give them any information. And you could tell they were all like wanting to ask me what was up, but
Yeah.
nobody did.
Oh.
I don't remember exactly how long they had been there, but I think it had been like a couple of weeks.
Did you feel like there was an elephant in the room?
Yeah. But I came in as an open book. I was like, here's this. Here's why I'm here. This is what happened. And then that inspired the elder to confess his stuff. And then
And they let him off
they let
easy?
him stay. Yeah. Compared to everybody in my district, I was advanced at Spanish. And so like I just came in as like top dog in that
Yeah.
district. I was like,
I got this.
yeah.
If I remember right, at some point in this another set of 2 months before you leave, before you even leave for your destination, your girlfriend breaks up with you. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The second time around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did that go?
I got a letter saying that she was engaged.
Oh.
And she was engaged to the guy that she had been dating while I was on intermission. And
In Oregon.
we were dating. No, it was before I went to Oregon.
Wow. Were you crushed?
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Because we had gone through a breakup and
Mhm.
then I moved to Oregon. So
Right.
that's what had happened.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Mm.
we talked all the time, and there was still kind of like this, you need to figure out what you're doing and get back on track and be a good priesthood holder.
Yeah.
And then we can talk. Like her coaxing me into the religion, I don't hold against her. But at that point, I think she was old enough to know a little better.
Yeah.
And I think she led me on a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was also not guiltless. Like I knew better too. Like
Yeah.
I could have been like, well, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but you're young
so was she.
and, you know,
Yeah.
Mormonism.
It's difficult.
So even though that happens, you stick to it.
I stick to it. At that time, it was like, well, at this point,
Yeah.
what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
I know
I
exactly
trained for 2.5 months.
I know what I've
3.5 months.
I know what I've been doing. Like when I went home between then and now.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back and do that.
Sure.
I don't want to go dig trees out of the ground. That's hard work.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to school because I don't know what to study. And so it was kind of like, this is what I got. So I just kind of went
So
with
at
it.
this point, do you even still believe what you're about to go teach? Okay.
I do. Because the second go round, and at that point, after the letter especially, I was like, I need to make sure this is what I believe.
Okay.
And then I really went into like
Your full mission brain.
I bought into it. Mission brain activated. Mission brain activated.
We are committed.
We are committed.
Yes.
We must baptize. Yeah. Yeah, she wasn't the one for me, but look at these beautiful sisters. You know, there's someone waiting for me afterwards.
That's
you know,
right.
I want a good Mormon wife.
That's right.
Right.
I want her good and I want her Mormon.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you go to Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
And are you like, get me the fuck out of here? Or
Yeah, I was very ready to leave the MTC, but I was honestly like chomping at the bits to be a missionary at that point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're like, I know what I'm doing.
The process, I mean, the brainwashing camp that the MTC is, it's for real.
I mean, big time. Big
They
time.
can turn out like robots in 2 weeks. Imagine almost 4 months of that.
Wow.
And yeah, you're just so excited to like get down and use this
There you
language that you think that you've dominated.
Right.
Like you think you know it so well.
I'm a
And like
master.
and you get down there and you just you're nowhere close
Immersed
to being able to
and-
to like converse with anyone.
like,
you can't
"Oh.
understand anything.
¿Cómo?"
Yeah. ¿Cómo? Yeah. It was weird too because my first go around, pretty much everyone, not everyone, but pretty much everyone in my district in the MTC was going to the same mission.
Oh, interesting.
So by the time I got to the mission, those missionaries had been there for like 6 months, and they were just like super fluent and like
Wow.
I'd run into them. At, like,
okay.
thing.
So when you got there, you were like, oh, hey, I remember you guys.
Oh yeah, we all we
Okay.
wrote to each other while I was in the MTC the second time too,
Wow.
and everything. Yeah, we kept in touch.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet. You were a lot closer to your people. I was
Yeah.
like, bye. I don't.
Well, understandably, after 2 weeks, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you don't really form those kind of bonds.
Sure, but I guess when it's months.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So you get there, culture shock.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody who's from this country knows exactly what it's like to live in a third world country.
Yeah.
I mean, you can know, but there's no way to know
No.
until you're
The lived
down there.
experience
Yeah.
is
Not until you
Because
have to
even-
use that bathroom and that shower or
Yeah.
lack of
Even
thereof.
visiting, yeah. Even just like as a tourist visiting a different, you don't really get it.
yeah.
When you're
'Cause-
in people's homes, when you're talking, when you get to know whole communities, yeah, you're seeing this in a completely different
Yeah.
Yeah.
light.
So how long before your life is threatened for the first time?
It was actually 6 months. Yeah, 6 months before I
Wow,
had a
that
gun
long.
pulled on me. Yeah,
And then there was like 19 more.
right in a row. Yeah,
Oh my
pretty
God.
much.
Dude.
No.
Yeah, and all
Why?
kids, like
For
the
your
age,
money?
the age that I teach now, it's like they're all that age. Yeah, for money. I mean, people
Because you had so much
there's all
money.
sorts of like conspiracy theories about who Mormon missionaries are. We're
Sure.
all part of the CIA. So you walk through the streets and you'd hear "See ya, see ya." They think we're CIA, or they think we're all rich because we're all from this country. Which,
Right.
comparatively, yes, we
Yeah.
all are
Yeah.
rich.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's rules. The first thing you learn when you get down there is like you keep 2 pesos in one pocket, 2 pesos in the other. You leave the rest at home. When you get robbed, when they pull a gun, you say, I only have 4 pesos. I'll give you 2. I need the other 2 to get home. And sometimes they would take the deal. And other times they'd be like, nah, give me both. Yeah, give me all of them.
Total.
Yeah. And so the idea is they get to know that you don't have that much money on you. You just have 4 pesos, which is like $1.30 US dollars. But these kids were like pretty persistent. And I had a companion that carried more than 4 pesos. And they were like, oh, sometimes they have more.
Yeah.
And so they hit us up all the time.
Did you kind of get used to it? Like they're not actually going to use the gun. We got to do this.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was like pretty routine. Like, okay, here it is.
There we go.
But sometimes they were on stuff and you
Oh.
could see in their eyes. And when you have somebody holding a gun to your head and they're visibly like messed up, it's like anything could happen
Yeah.
at this point. Like even though this kid's robbed me 5 times before and nothing happened, this time could be different because
Sure.
he looks pretty strung out
Oh
right
boy.
now.
So you can even like habituate to having a gun pulled on you.
Yeah. We would
When
get to
it's
the
routine.
point where if it was a gun, we would give them money. If it was a knife, we would run.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's the distinction.
Yeah. So it's
Interesting.
like, no, you just have a knife. We can outrun them because we didn't have bikes or cars. So we were like really in shape. We walked everywhere. So like we could outrun them even in our dress shoes and shirt and tie easily.
God.
Especially if they were messed up. If they were like really drunk and like, you're like, see ya. Bye. Yeah. And you just go to the safest house, the closest safest house, like a member's house.
Oh, wow.
And eventually in that neighborhood where the muggings first started, we were teaching a family, they got baptized. He was kind of a bad A in the neighborhood. He pretty much knew everybody, the father of that family. And we told him what was going on. He's like, describe him to me.
Oh.
And the next day we like walked past that group of kids and they like looked away. And I was like,
wow.
And then we went to Jose's house and he's like, yeah, I told him I'd kill him.
Wow.
That's all. That's
Fix the glitch.
super casual.
I was like, well, as a member of the church, you shouldn't be thinking about murder.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Thank you, but
God.
maybe think about not murdering. Yeah.
Unless you're Nephi and God commands you.
Yeah.
You know.
Of course.
Sure.
There are times.
There are situations.
when you must smite.
There is precedent. There's precedent.
Smite or be smitten.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So not only do you have to worry about finding, teaching, baptizing, you have to worry about not dying
Yeah.
from, attacks. And like, did you get sick a lot?
Yeah, I got really sick in the mission. Yeah.
Like dysentery or like approaching?
I mean, I got a couple of gusanos, worms.
God.
Parasites.
Yeah. Wow.
Which, they've got modern medicine now that wipes that stuff out.
Sure.
Pretty cool. You hear stories of people like having to like hold their mouth open over a bowl of warm milk and then letting the parasite.
No.
Like alien. And if you gag, they retract.
Oh.
So you have to like.
Oh, I would immediately
let it happen.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry. I just did it that
what
graphically.
A nightmare.
I was giving you the willies.
Oh my God.
No.
That's disgusting.
I didn't know they could come out that end. Like,
Again, these are stories.
Sure.
Not sure if they're true. These are all stories that you hear on the mission.
Yeah.
Because you're so cut off. I mean, I don't know how strict you were on a stateside mission with not consuming other things. Visually, news-wise, can't read the newspaper, can't watch it. You can't hear anything.
No music.
If you walk into a
nothing.
house and the TV's on, can you please turn that
Would
off?
you please?
So like stories, the tradition of story amongst missionaries is alive and well. I mean, that was one thing that was pretty kind of cool.
Yeah.
You would hear these stories that most of them were probably not true.
Right.
Probably not true. But like missionary lore.
The lore.
And the parasite with the bowl of milk was one of the lore.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you did have some harrowing experience. What was it that you had to go to the doctor at the temple for?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I had what was described to me later as Jeep butt. I guess it was pretty common. It was pretty common in the Army.
Okay.
Amongst drivers. Essentially, it's a cyst that forms on your backside, and it becomes very painful.
Yeah.
And you have to cut it open and remove it,
Lance it
for it to go away. There was a mission doctor who lived on temple grounds, so I had to take like a 3-hour bus ride from where my area was to him on Jeep butt, which was like so painful I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand up straight. It was it had to be like over here. It's happened, like it's reoccurring. It'll reoccur.
Wow.
But he had me in his apartment, biting on a belt, and took a scalpel and cut my butt open.
Oof.
And packed it with gauze and sent me home with some like antibiotics, like no pain pills or anything. And then that got infected.
Ugh.
And it was coursing through my whole system, and I became like septic, essentially, which is like 2 steps away from death.
Yeah.
And I called up the mission president's wife and told her what was going on, and she immediately came and picked me up and took me to a hospital.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And the doctor was like, "Who did this to you?" And I was like, "Mission president?" Like, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
"Yeah,
terrifying.
I know."
He just like totally made it worse for you.
Yeah.
You would have been better off without him.
Yeah. I should have gone to the
No.
hospital the first time, to be honest.
But
God, how many
you're
Mormons
trained to trust your immediate.
has say that sentence? I should have gone to the hospital first.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen the other side of heaven, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
All you got to do is put some honey or whatever, whatever happened, whatever that is.
sure, yeah.
I don't even remember the details on whatever happens with his feet.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Oh no, you just prop it up.
Right.
The sun will heal you.
Just get a blessing for God's
love.
sake.
Definitely need a blessing.
Oh, I got blessings. I got lots of
Sure,
blessings. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, mission president gave me a blessing. I felt so special.
Oh, yeah. You're healed immediately.
Oh.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still really bad.
Yeah, I still can't walk.
It did hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Subsequently, I had 5 more surgeries on it.
In the
And-
mission?
No,
Or just
throughout
post?
my life.
Okay.
The last one was in 2016. Successful.
Wow.
Gone.
Wow.
That one.
Jeez,
My
man.
God, that sounds so painful.
Yeah. So health wise, it was that. A couple rounds of the parasites because you're not to refuse. If someone offers you water, you drink that water, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's been boiled or not.
Yeah. Tang. Lots of tang. And they mix it and there's
Bottoms
floaties
up.
in there. And you're
Oh,
like, Tang
boy.
doesn't have floaties?
The
Yeah.
stress
Yeah.
of not being able to control what you're putting in your body is real.
It is.
I
Yeah.
hate that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Wow.
Oof. Throughout your mission, are you keeping your testimony? Is it growing?
It kind of peaks.
Okay.
It kind of peaks. Like I definitely, the first half of it is all like testimony growing. But it's also that moment where you're like in a new culture, like things that are exciting for anybody, any young
Sure.
kid.
Sure.
So like if you would remove the religious part of it, I probably would have been just loving it there. Because
Yeah.
I love Argentina. I loved living there. I really do.
No.
I'm really grateful for that aspect of it. You're meeting great people. You're meeting horrible people. You're also meeting great people, you know. You're stepping out of your shell for the first time as a young adult. We have some autonomy, which is funny to think of.
Right.
But especially in these missions in different countries,
Sure.
you have autonomy in the sense
More
that
so.
no one knows what you're doing all
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
You can do whatever. I chose the straight and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
I followed the rules, mostly. I watched one movie on my mission.
Yeah.
It was Finding Nemo.
Yeah. I think you're all right.
That's crossing a line.
You know, we felt guilty about it. We
You
prayed,
should
we
have.
prayed about it. Me and my companion, we prayed about it.
That's
Oh,
call for
man.
repentance for sure.
You are at this kind of point in your life, early 20s, where you're looking at the world and how it functions. And eventually I started realizing this is exploitation of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
We are inviting these people to a church that feeds them. Of course, they're going to want to be a part of it. Like if you have kids in an economy that's crashing, that was during that time, the economy in Argentina was just in total flux. They went through like 2 or 3 different currency changes.
Oh, wow.
Just the whole economy collapsed right about the time that we invaded. You know, it was that whole time after 9/11 where everything was kind of
Turmoil.
It was shaky.
and you start realizing like we are taking advantage of these people's suffering and we're offering them a Band-Aid
Yeah.
and requiring of them full committal.
And
Doubt not. If you keep coming and you're faithful and you bring your friends, we will give you beans and rice, that type of thing. And it felt very transactional at a certain point.
Of course.
And you're realizing this while you're there.
Towards the tail end of my mission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I was offered the position of assistant to the president.
Yeah.
And
Get
I turned
outta here.
it down.
Why?
I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. I
Yeah.
checked out. With about 3 months left in my mission, I was
Ooh.
like, I'm done.
You got chunky.
Yeah.
I was chunky. Yeah, very chunky. I was voted most likely to become, what's the word in English?
Apostate?
Apostate.
Really?
Even though in my head I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep with it.
I'm good.
But they all saw it in me. Like
Wow.
I didn't I kept to the end. Like my last companion, I was training. I trained 2 people. Like I was still teaching, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to be apostate." I was like, "Oh, am I?"
Oh, am I?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You were the
Yeah.
rebel.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised outside of the church, so I had, for them, the mouth of a sailor. So
Sure.
they heard me cuss all the time. They knew I was open about my experience, like getting kicked out of the MTC, going back. They knew all that. And so the assumption was like,
Right.
oh, he's just going to go back to his wily
Yeah.
ways. Yeah.
Right.
But even through those 2 years, do you know anything about polygamy?
Yeah.
About
At the time?
Well, the way that it was presented and the way I understood it at that point, it was like polygamy was introduced as a way for these families to be taken care of
Sure.
during all these massacres when
sure
the good Mormons were attacked and these good priest holders were
for no
killed
reason.
for no reason at all.
Yeah.
So
you didn't really know.
I didn't really know. I didn't really know.
Sure.
Yeah. I was pretty indoctrinated at that point.
Yeah.
When they separate you from your original tribe and they take everything away from you that is you, that makes you you, and you dress like everyone around you, and it's just the epitome of cult.
Yep.
You either buy in or you're miserable while you're doing it. Because once you land down there, especially in a mission, once you're like the plane has disembarked, you are assigned to an area. You are responsible for these souls around you. It's really hard to be like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
You have been primed to buy in. You have to buy in.
Yeah. And your
Or be
survival
miserable.
depends on you coping somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you found a way.
And every adversity is the Lord challenging you and your faith.
Of course.
And every time a gun is put against your head, it's God saying, are you sure you're faithful to me? And you're like, hell yeah, I am.
Oh
Because if you say, no, I'm not, you might get shot the next time.
Oh gosh.
Because a missionary got shot in the head 3 months before you landed. So somebody gets shot. You know, as long as you're faithful, the underwear will protect you.
The underwear.
Yeah.
So you get through the whole 2 years,
I do.
regardless of your struggles, your near-death experiences,
2 years
your
and
illnesses.
2 years and a month and a half, counting the extra MTC time. Yeah.
God bless you.
So
I'm holier than most returned missionaries.
of course.
You would think.
So you're set apart, honorable
discharge. Yeah. Fly back home. I go straight to Oregon. I know I don't want to be in Utah.
Yeah.
Have you had contact with the girl?
No. Maybe like a letter exchange in the mission. Maybe. I don't remember it. I'm not going to say no because I can't say definitively no. I think I remember maybe one letter. But it was more like, hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
I'm a good missionary.
Yeah.
I also had...
Congrats on the wedding.
I also had like this sense... I remember writing her family a couple times. I knew the ward was like footing the bill for that. Yeah. And I felt kind of like, I got to keep you updated. I had seen that happen before. It's like, oh, we got a letter from Elder blah, blah, blah.
Right. And let's read it over the pulpit.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I knew that was a thing.
Sure.
So I did keep in touch in terms of that. But
yeah,
straight home to Oregon.
Did your family meet you at the airport?
My dad picked me up curbside.
Did you have like fantasies about that moment?
No, I was kind of unclear as to what was going to happen.
If you weren't going back to Utah, then you wouldn't have expected that.
I also knew I hadn't been released yet, so I still technically needed to have a companion with me. But I had to walk through that whole airport, after 2 years of not having a companion next to you and be like, and then I remember like going. It was like a couple days before I could get released by the stake president because he's a dude with a schedule, right? Yeah. He can't just like release you. And I remember telling my dad like, I can't go anywhere without you. Like, you need to come into the store with me. Like, if we're out in public,
was
you
he
have
totally
to be.
weirded out?
No, my dad is a very easygoing dude. And he was like, all right, whatever.
Sure.
Okay.
If them's the rules, them's the rules. And he drove me to like the stake the stake center to get released and all that. I was like, all right, you don't have to be around me anymore. He's like, all right. Like, whatever that was.
Wow.
But yeah,
I
remember
nice
getting home and just being like, carpet is weird.
Right? In grocery stores?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got home right before Christmas. And so the consumerism of Christmas. also the season change. You're leaving during summer down there and you come back in winter. It was like it throws you through a loop. And I know for a few months I was probably just like, just like pretty lost.
Yeah.
But I threw myself right into the local ward that I belonged to. And they're like, all right, you can be here for now, but eventually you got to go to the singles ward. You got to go find you a wife.
That's right. So those last few months, you were done with the mission, but you were still engaged with the gospel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I was tired of being like, because I got robbed and at gunpoint up to the very end.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, they robbed me while I was with my trainee, who was a sweet kid from Idaho. Shout out Tyler. If you're not watching this.
Poor Tyler.
I hope one day you do watch this. And it just freaked him out. And I just kept watching people get traumatized like that and kept watching people traumatize each other. And it's just, humanity is messy and hard. And I struggle with things like anxiety and depression. And so like you get through a certain amount. Once the magic of something new has worn off and you settle into it, you still struggle with the same things you're struggling with. Religion doesn't answer your questions around mental health. That requires some work. You got to put the work into it and you have to address it. It's not just like Jesus will fix me, So
it's not just that.
Yeah. No. So towards the end of it's not just that.
No.
So towards the end of the mission, I was just like back to me. I was comfortable speaking in a different language now and comfortable knocking on strangers' doors and convincing them to get baptized, but I still wasn't comfortable with myself. And it didn't fix everything that I thought I was going to fix.
I should have asked before, how successful was the mission in terms of numbers?
I baptized some people.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I put up some numbers.
Yeah. A lot of them are like
more
still
than
going.
10?
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Nah.
A lot more
around
than
100?
Not quite 100.
Less than 100, but more than 10.
More than 50, less than 75.
Okay.
Damn.
Probably like a dozen that went through to the mission and like got married in the temple and stuff. Like full
Ammon
on,
over
like,
here.
I was like low numbers for my mission. There were some elders that like put up 100 plus, 200
Holy
plus.
Crap.
Like I said, it's different when you're in a third world country and you're offering them a community that can give them financial support, food, stuff like it's different.
Yeah.
It's manipulative.
Yeah. There's more at stake.
There's way more at stake for people. And they're like, I don't really believe this, but they look like they've got some help they can give me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that started feeling wrong to me too. I started recognizing that while in the mission.
Yeah. But you come home, you keep going to church, and then you decide to go to BYU?
Yeah, I got home, went to that ward, and became smitten with the bishop's daughter.
Oh, here we go again.
And she was going to BYU, and so I went to BYU. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we broke up like 2 months into my stay at BYU. I finished a year, and then I was like, definitely done.
Wow.
Once you're in the BYU...
It's a different
biodome or whatever it is. Oh,
for
my
sure.
goodness. You see all of the icky,
the hypocrisy and
the garment test on the leg, all this stuff. The guys bragging about how many people they baptized, and it becomes a different animal.
Yep.
It was like probably March of a whole year at BYU. I was like done.
Yeah.
I had whiskey. I had whiskey in my closet. I was going climbing
at BYU.
I was going climbing every day to avoid people. Like I was getting good enough grades to pass and get the credits and get out. And I got out. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no like deconversion. It was just like, you know what?
It was me finally accepting that I didn't need to fight to believe this. If I have to fight so hard to believe all of this, none of it makes me happy.
Yeah.
If all of it seems really unhealthy, it is. All of the bull.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were there shelf items for you, or was it just like, I don't want to try to keep up?
The pretending.
And if I don't feel that, then it's not true.
I mean, my inner atheist just came back.
Yeah.
And, it was something that I had nurtured and really thought about as a kid. And having that first experience with Seventh-day Adventism, and then getting into some other, I was a punk rock kid, and I was really interested in activism and systems of government. And if you look at religion and compare it to oppressive governments, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Always viewed colonialism as something that is bad. And what was that all based on?
Yeah.
Religion.
Yeah, they call the leadership...
Or they justified it or
Yeah.
whatever.
Sure.
They call the leadership of Jehovah's Witnesses the governing body.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty...
Yeah. It's all very closely related. They're all just systems to control and
oppress.
And the members within those systems start controlling and oppressing each other. It's just a power game. It's like, I'm being hurt, so I'm going to hurt you. I'm being manipulated, so I'm going to manipulate you.
Yeah.
If I can show I'm a good manipulator, those that have power above me will accept me into their circle, things like that. You start really like, if you want to see it, you can see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you were like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
I didn't.
Right.
So it wasn't so much that there was new information. There was just your true self
Came
back.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
From the moment where I was like accepting that answer from God with that gust of wind was me just like me accepting that I didn't know everything, which I still don't. But rather than saying I don't know everything and nobody does, and we're all just doing our best, I said, I don't know everything. I'm going to try what they're saying is right. So I'm going to let myself kind of dive into this and see what happens. And I just got a little too deep.
Yeah.
I got a little too
carried away.
The claws were a little too. Yeah.
Wow.
So you leave by BYU.
I go back
here?
go back to Oregon. I start going to a singles ward for a few months.
Oh.
A girl from BYU comes and follows me because she didn't have anything to do. We were playing music together. We mess around a little bit. And then I just tell my bishop straight up, this is what we did, and I'm not going to come back to church.
Wow.
We had broken up already.
But you still confessed.
Yeah, I told him straight up.
Did you feel guilty about it, though?
I did, in the sense that at that point I was the ward secretary.
Oh, what a terrible calling.
I was in the bishopric.
I always felt bad for people who have that calling.
Yeah. And I told him eventually, I was like, you think that I'm one thing, but I'm not. And this is proof that I'm not. This is what I just did a couple weeks ago.
Right.
You want to know what I did?
I know you have questions.
Yeah.
You usually do.
But yeah, it wasn't so much like I felt like I needed to confess my sins. It was more like, I don't believe in this stuff. I'm not living by this stuff. And here is the proof. Please stop asking me to do more.
Yeah.
It was my way of being like, you can't convert me anymore. Like, I'm done. Yeah. Which is they're always going to be like, oh, this is when he needs the most help,
Did they try reaching out to you? And
they were constantly sending missionaries out to my dad's place where I was living at the time.
If they knew where you were, they were going to come to you.
Yeah. And then they found me a couple times when I moved into Portland. And then they found me I got a letter in Seattle.
Oh,
and
really?
This is after I'd moved from here to Anchorage to Seattle. I got a letter from the bishop.
Like 5 years ago.
From my ward there saying we'd love to see you at a thing. And I wrote them a letter back saying, do not contact me, blah, blah, blah. And then I did some research, and it's like they will keep contacting you until you remove your name.
If you move, they will come.
Yeah. So this comes to the question. You have not removed your name.
I have not yet.
You have not yet. But you're in the process of that?
Yes. I've gone on to the Quit Mormon website, registered all my name and all that stuff, and I got all the documents, and I just need to notarize it.
Now you need to notarize it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And because I haven't been contacted by the church in a while, it kind of feels less urgent.
I need to.
But revisiting, especially now with you both over the last few months, it really it puts a different meaning around it.
Yeah.
It's more symbolic. It's more like I definitely need to not be associated with this because it was not a healthy part of my life. It led me to, I always, when people asked me about it, I would always present it like, oh yeah, I don't believe it anymore, but at least I got to live in a different country and learn a new language. It was always like justifying it that way.
A positive spin.
Right. But when you look at the whole of it, when I look at the whole of it and how many years it robbed from me and the amount of guilt it put on me, the amount of like unhealthy ideas around relationships and like, in order to be in a relationship, you have to check these boxes and you better be doing these things for this person. It's really been much more of a negative force on my life than I think I've realized.
Yeah.
Because you did what they would hope you would do. You left it alone for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even really like do what we've done and like dove into history and parsed the doctrine and figured out why it's not true.
Right.
Logistically.
Yeah. I just kind of already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it sounds like it took a lot from you.
Yeah. It took away years from me. It set me back years. Like who knows where any of us would be if you would change any decision. But this in particular felt manipulated. It felt like there was a driving force by individuals and a community and one of the richest organizations on earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Really manipulating people with less, the have-nots. I grew up very poor kid. Like I didn't grow up poor like a lot of the people I met in Argentina, but really it's the poorest and the most vulnerable that are taken advantage of by churches. Yeah. And to have your name listed under that organization legally, whether or not I'm active in that church, claim you. It's a hard pill to swallow. And it's something that I definitely want to take care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you know just how rich that corporation actually is.
So rich. Yeah. Yeah. That is something that I have looked into. I didn't necessarily like dive into the doctrine, but I have looked into like how much money.
Yeah.
But I even knew, like I went through.
If you were a secretary, you saw numbers and stuff, right?
I saw all the numbers, but even like my own numbers. Like I worked as a high school student and I kept for some reason my tithing slips and like going through this stuff. You're like, wow, like I could have used that for school.
No kidding.
Like I have so much student loan debt. Like I could have used that money for school.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. So we're back to atheism. Is that right?
Atheism in the sense like I don't think there's a God, whatever they look like.
Sure.
Like a single thing.
Yeah.
I kind of describe myself as agnostic in the sense of I don't know.
I mean, of course, it could be everyone is agnostic.
It could be
because they
like,
don't know.
No one knows. Yeah. And but I honestly do not believe that there's a single religion on this earth that has even a portion of it right.
Yeah.
There's none of it. It's all invented.
Sure.
It's all systems of oppression, power structures.
Yeah.
By their fruits, you shall know them. They're convicted by their own scripture. It's like,
oh yeah, that's a good point.
You can't look at a single religious organization and say that they're out for the greater good. They're out for their own good and their own gain. So there might be a big purple blob in space that like birthed all life in the universe.
You are all mine.
Yeah, and maybe like
but, I love you and you love me and we're a great big family.
Yeah, exactly. But at this point, like
you don't know.
Yeah, no one knows.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that brings us back to how you and I reconnected because you did leave Oregon. What was that? 8 years ago? About 2014.
2014. Yeah.
And you went off to Alaska. You were in Seattle. You
started the last frontier.
You started a bakery of all things.
I did.
That was going well until the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then
going well is
at the bed.
Going well.
It was getting there.
Business was growing.
Yeah.
Was I killing myself in the process?
Yeah.
Sure.
It was a rough time. And then you came back, but you were kind of quiet about it. And I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody really, except for like one friend. I don't know. I just didn't know how to like reapproach people that I hadn't spoken to in a long time.
How to explain.
A lot of friends have like started families and stuff. They nobody got time to deal with
So you
But
just...
yeah, are you trying to find the text?
I'm trying to find it. Yeah. So I get this, and I had been thinking about you for some reason.
Yeah, he
embarrassed
had
about
told
this
me
text, but
about
let's
you
do
several
this.
times.
Yeah.
And you're like, I wish I could find him.
Yeah,
but
I tried to
can't.
find you like on Instagram or Facebook or
I
whatever.
had and still have abandoned
And
social
good.
media. Yeah,
But,
it's not
but I
good
had
for
your
you.
number, and I just didn't know if it was still there. But I hadn't seen you in so long. But I had thought about you, and I get this text in the dead of the night. Hey, bud, I'm knee deep in some caps, mushroom caps.
Which I don't know if I've ever used that terminology about knee deep. I'm knee deep in caps, bro.
I'm full of caps, dude. I'm capped up.
Oh my God.
Feeling, and I love this though. I'm sharing this because I love this, and this is what brought us back together.
Yeah.
Feeling the web of time, space, base, etc. Base, blah, blah. We can laugh about me later.
A little referencing to the bass player.
Yeah, a slap at the bass.
A slap at the bass.
I think I want to try to give the return missionary talk I never got to give to the ward that paid for my mission that I never thanked. And I think that might be an interesting podcast. Hit me up. I'm living in Portland again. And then we've been having a great time hanging out
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so interesting that in that headspace of perceived connectivity, you reached out. And I think that's
well,
pretty interesting.
I had listened to your podcast while I was doing the bakery, working too hard. Like 100, you work like 100 hours by yourself.
It was your business.
You listen to a lot of podcasts.
Wow.
And one of them was, I started with the fundamentals, and then I listened to
now called Everywhere You Go is Bullshit.
Everywhere You Go is Bullshit. Sorry. And so I had you in my mind for years, thinking like we've never really like capped off that conversation.
Yeah.
There was like the initial of like, well, you
No way.
But we'd never sat down really, and like we had discussed a couple weird things about it, but it was never like we did today, and like we have done a few times. So I coming out of the experience of losing a business and a relationship at the same time, and the pandemic and everything like that, I was like, while knee deep in caps.
Yeah.
Totally forgot that I wrote that.
What a great preface.
You start like seeing some connections sometimes when you're in that state of mind. And this whole process of like meeting up and talking with you, and then it's culminating in this, has felt it's felt like closure, because I think that text is like, I've never had any kind of closure around it.
Right.
Coming straight back from the mission, not interacting with that old ward.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not typical.
It is cool that they.
I feel. Yeah, I feel along the lines of like everyone is manipulated. I feel bad for them. I feel bad that they are stuck in this same maze that we got stuck in, or were raised in, and they had to pay for some kid to go on a mission to figure out who he was, which is in a way so beautiful, and why I would want to thank them.
Right.
It wasn't their responsibility to pay that for me. But at the same time, do I really think it's necessary for me to thank them?
No.
Do I really want to go back to Centerville, Utah, as I am right now, and
Ladies
be like,
and gentlemen, brothers and sisters,
You can pull it off.
I will now read from the book of Leviticus. I'd like to thank my refrigerator for keeping my food cold. But
God is good.
I think that text and this was rooted in that sense of closure. And I think that is also why I need to take that step and get my name off the records. It needs to be closed off, that chapter. It's always been just kind of hanging.
Yep.
Sure.
Especially since I've chosen to take Spanish into my career now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm now a Spanish teacher.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which I love. I'm grateful for that opportunity that led to this. Could I have learned Spanish in a different way?
Yeah.
Of course.
Sure.
But it's really
Not by
hard.
gunpoint.
Or with G-Butt,
It's really hard to just like detangle all of that. And life is messy, It's basically,
It is.
it's really messy. And you don't need to like make it messier by believing in stuff and trying to convince other people of stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what a journey. Thank you so much for coming in to talk about it.
Thank you.
Seriously,
This is
thank
great.
you.
Thank you. No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
No, thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we did it.
That was good. I'm proud of us.
This concludes season 4 of our show.
4 seasons.
4 seasons deep.
Oh my God.
We'll be back probably in a few months. We're going to produce it over the summer because in the fall, time is going to be scarce. So maybe in the meantime, we'll try to like keep up with social media a little bit more. Engage
Sure.
on the Instagrams and stuff
On
like
the
that.
gram, send us your questions, suggestions, ideas.
For this season, I'm Brother Dan.
I'm Sister Lisa.
Elder Clark.
There you go. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.